Hi, welcome to the Bari Nation podcast, where we support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. I'm April.
And I'm Jason.
And today we're welcoming back one of our favorite humans on the planet, Miss Katie Breaker. Hi, friend.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. As always.
We are, as always, we love connecting with you. And we already know a little bit about what you're going to talk about, but only like this much. It's been, right? I think it's been 6 weeks. It's at least been 4 to 6 weeks since we have talked to you last. Mm-hmm. Our theme this summer was Summer Study. You have been working with a coach. You have had a lot of life happen between the last time that we talked. And we just want to get caught up with you. We want to know what life has been like since the last time we've talked, and maybe what you've kind of learned a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, sounds good. So I think the last 2 episodes we've done, I was tracking, or I was kind of getting started on my program. So I've been in my program now for, I think it's been 12 weeks now. I think it's been 3 months officially, which is crazy. I know. What even is time? I say that every single podcast we do, what even is time? Because the fact that I'm even almost 2 years post-op still blows my mind. I can't even, like December, I will be 2 years post-op. I can't even wrap my mind around it. What is time?
Oh my God.
I know. I cannot believe it. It's crazy. But yeah, life has been good, really busy. The last couple of weeks, actually, I've been struggling a little bit, kind of in a little bit of a lull, as I call it, or a funk, as I call it too. But I've been so busy this summer, so like on the go, and it's not over yet. I'm going to be in Nashville this coming weekend, and then I'm going to be in Colorado the weekend after that. So it's like, I'm still in the midst of a lot of the things, but it's been really hard to stay focused on tracking while on the go. And I try to do my best during the week and realize that like, I can control what I can control, and I'm just going to do my best. And that's kind of how I've been honestly living for the last like month or so throughout all this, is just kind of do my best throughout the week, and the weekends I'm going to do my best, but I know that I'm not going to be completely on plan, and that's okay. I've accepted that. But I think like last week, I just really, Sarah has this term called the fuck it bucket. And she says, and that's what she'll tell me is like, Katie, I feel like you think you're throwing it all in the fuck it bucket, but you're actually not. Like, you're doing fine. The weekends, we'll tackle that. You're learning to, go with the flow, and you're always aware of what you're eating. And that's important. And she's so great at being encouraging. But this past, last week, I just really struggled. I was like, I need a break. I didn't track hardly anything at all during the week. And I think I'm just feeling very overwhelmed. And I think it's a normal thing. I think it's normal. I mean, obviously tracking in itself, like when you're tracking your macros and you're tracking every single thing you put into your mouth, like that is so much work. And I've really dedicated to that. I've made that a priority, and doing that while also, trying to maintain a social life with all the events that I have going on. Like, it's a lot, and I'm tired. I just feel like the last couple of weeks, I've kind of slowed down a little bit on my tracking. I'm still doing it. I still try to pre-plan my meals, and I'm aware of what I'm eating, but I'm not as like gung-ho about it. And I was scared to tell Sarah. I was scared to tell her, like, I'm struggling, like I check in every week with her, and I just don't ever want her to be disappointed in me. Like, I think that's what I'm so afraid of. That's why I've been so scared to hire a coach, is because I'm so scared of disappointing them and like not being able to commit to myself. And so she's just been so great. Like, I brag on her all the time. Like, I am just totally girl crushing on my coach. I love her to death, like in every way. She's totally just been able to meet me where I am in the moments, in my low moments, and help pick me up back off my feet. And I'm just really grateful to have her. But yeah, so I'm on the up and up, like I'm definitely not giving up on this. I love how I feel. I love having something to really commit to. I think I need that accountability, at least right now in my life, but I'm not ready to really like dive into the fitness part of it. And really try and kind of like find my physique yet, because I'm too busy. I can't I need to be able to have some stability in my life where I'm not traveling. And it's a lot. It's too much right now. So I'm just trying to survive at this point.
Well,
But
a
I'm
lot of
proud
what
where
you
I'm
said
at.
though, a lot of what you said makes sense though, because it's where people do worry about hiring coaches or nutritionists or somebody that's a professional in that area is you feel like the formality of it is so important and impressive, and that like you don't, not only do you not want to let that person down, but you're also, a part of you doesn't want to bet on yourself and actually throw money down, because you're like, a part of the old brain comes back and you're like, well, I failed at everything else, and now I'm just going to
Yes.
throw money away, and I don't want to do that. But you said something, what you said, you haven't been tracking, and kind of threw that all out the window. Do you feel like your eating habits have changed, or you just stopped tracking?
It's a good question. A little of both. So I feel like I honestly, my eating habits Monday through Thursday, like spot on for the most part. But the problem is I'm not exact on my numbers. I know that like I've been a little bit under because I'm like struggling to eat. And it's crazy because I'm still in my reverse diet. I'm still like working on my metabolism. And so like, I'm kind of struggling with not being as hungry. And I don't know. I need to talk to Sarah about that too, because in the beginning I was really hungry, and I don't know. It's so weird how your body like works, but I'm realizing I'm actually noticing how my metabolism is speeding up. I'm noticing that like I'm able to eat a little bit more throughout the day when it comes to like I'll get full quickly, but then like I feel like I'm hungry within like 20 minutes. And I think it's because my body is metabolizing it quicker. And it's like, okay, let's keep going. So it is interesting. I can feel my metabolism like speeding up. But Sarah did up my carbs not too long ago. Or upped my protein and my carbs. Which also ups my calories. So my calories right now are like over 1,600. And that's like a lot for a bariatric patient when you're not used to eating all that during the day. So, I mean, it's wild, but honestly, I've thought about this a lot, and I feel like I'm at a really good place with learning to, I don't know. I think it's good when you work with a coach and you learn to eat more. I feel like because you're able to get those nutrients, and like, obviously we're still going to take vitamins for the rest of our life, but I feel like I'm in a much better place if I were to forget to take my vitamins. I'm not going to go deficient because I'm able to eat more. So it's just a process. It's hard to wrap your mind around all of this. But I think to answer your question, that was a really long-winded answer, but to answer your question, I feel like I'm slipping a little bit here and there, but at the same time, I feel like I've been slipping the entire time. How do I explain this? I feel like I do a great job. Sarah tells me I do a great job, but every time I like indulge a little bit, I feel guilty about it. So I think what I'm trying to say is I'm struggling with food guilt when I do indulge, even though I feel like I'm still doing a good job. So I think I'm still trying to like rewire that part of my brain. So
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely, because if you nail it Monday through Thursday and you only have a little bit of an issue Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, she's right. You are nailing it, because it's all about it's consistency the majority of the time. And if you're still being consistent on the days you're not being as good food wise, you're still doing good, because you don't wreck the whole Friday, the whole Saturday, and the whole Sunday. You may just you may veer off plan a little bit on each of those days, but your majority of your day still nails what you're supposed to do. And yeah, I mean, dealing with the food guilt part of that, that's just something that we've been wired to forever, because that's just how we see ourselves.
Literally.
But you being able to see even that ahead of time and know that's what's going on is only going to help you get past that much faster. Because if you're still doing, if you're still sticking to it the majority of the time, that's all you can do. Nobody's going to be perfect 100% of the time.
I know. And I don't know why I struggle with that so bad. It's like,
we all struggle with that.
I am like a perfectionist and I have such high standards for myself, but why is that? Like, why are we all able to give each other advice about realizing that you're human, but then like, we can't take our own advice? Like I am the worst at that. It's so hard.
Well, I think I have an idea. It's because we know how difficult change is. We know that what we're doing is something we have never done before. It takes a monumental amount of effort, mental effort, physical effort, right? All of that stuff. And if we mess up, it's our escape hatch from doing the work of change. So we are looking for these things, this escape hatch. It's like that all or nothing mindset, right? It's like, oh, well, I screwed this up. So, oh, I just can't keep going, because we're actually really, truly exhausted.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I think, and now that you mention it, I really think like that's what people don't realize is, and I get caught up in this too, clearly, but when you're on social media and you see the transformations of people, and like, it's like, you're not there in the moment. You don't know what they've gone through. And the reality is it takes a long time. Like it takes a long time. And I don't know why I know that, but I think it's like, I see other people like killing it at the gym, and, I see all their highs that they post on social media, but I don't see their struggles, so like, I feel like I kill it nutritionally, but when it comes to the physical part, I struggle because I'm tired. I'm just like trying to balance it all. Like, I think I'm mentally exhausted. Yes. And so like, and I kind of talked about this on my stories a little bit this week, how I feel like for a really long time, I have lived with so much clutter in my space because I've tried to fill voids in my life by shopping. I've been that way for a really long time. And I don't know that it's gotten worse since surgery. I do think I'm spending more since surgery just because it's fun. Like I'm having fun trying on clothes and trying new styles and that sort of thing. But I just want to get to a place where I feel content with my life, and I don't feel like I have to fill any voids. And I know like that's, everybody wants that. It's a dream life, but I am trying to just take baby steps to get to where I need to be, because I feel like the clutter in my environment is cluttering my thoughts, and I'm just struggling with that. And I think I lived in a really depressed state of mind for so long that I've just lived this way forever. And so I'm ready to start tackling that slowly but surely. And that's one thing that Sarah, my coach, has been really great about. She told me last week, I told her I was in a funk, and I was like, I just cannot make myself get up and be active. And she was like, okay, today's the day. You're going to set a timer for 30 minutes and you're going to do literally anything that gets you up and moving. She was like, I don't care if you want to clean your kitchen, if you want to play music and dance in your living room. She was like, just something, anything, just get up and move. And I'm like, okay. So I started cleaning my closet, which is a workout. I will say that was tougher than a 30-minute walk. So, but like, it felt good to get up and move. And like, so I'm trying to have that kind of mindset. And I told her, I was like, thank you for encouraging me. I need it. I know I'm like not doing my trainings like I'm supposed to. She was like, look, we'll get to the trainings, but we have to get through the basics first. And now that I know like what you're struggling with, like we're going to get you through this. So she's like helping me through every part of this. And I'm just really grateful to have somebody there that can kind of talk me through it and be that voice of reason in my mind.
Well, I mean, it's monumental. You're learning how to live a new life. And
Literally.
and all of the things that go into our lives are so multifaceted. And right, when you're trying to make this big shift, it's like, it's the book, Katie. It's the slight edge.
It's the
right?
book.
It's the book. It's always the book. But in that book, remember, he talks about we're wired to look for this quantum leap. And that's what Instagram is.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that.
Right? Mm-hmm. Instagram is an instant quantum leap, because we just see these transformations go before our eyes and we think, oh, why am I not going at this speed? Why am I not? I should have done this by now. But Instagram is these, seconds in time. And like what you said, you're not seeing the middle.
Yeah.
And if we keep looking for this quantum leap, we know it doesn't exist, but yet we're going to beat ourselves up over it because we can't find it. Right? It's another version of kind of that all or nothing thinking. So, the fact that you're just kind of taking a step back and just saying like, okay, things are rough. Things are not good. I'm struggling. I mean, that's different than what you had probably done in the past.
It is. It is. And I always reference myself to to like Monica from Friends, although she's way more clean than I am. But she has her closet of crap that she shoves out. Like that's what I do. Like I have the most amazing storage spaces in my apartment, but they're all shoved with my crap. And I'm like, why do I have so much crap? I like don't even know what it is. But all of like, and that's when I started realizing I'm like, okay, I cannot like store seasonal things because I have too much crap in all of my closets. And so like that's kind of what spurred this, because it's like the seasons are changing. I want to change my decor. Oh wait, where is my decor? Like which closet is it in? Like there's no organization here. So that's like kind of what started this whole thing. But yeah, I'm definitely having some realizations through this conversation that I need to have more grace with myself. But I think the important takeaway from where I'm at in the process right now of my journey is, just realizing that I'm human and that I'm not perfect. And even though I'm not as like super motivated and driven to like continue with my plan, I'm not giving up on myself and I'm going to, keep going. And it's hard to like get to that point where it's like, I'm just tired. I just want to tell Sarah, like, dude, I'm sick of tracking. Like, I've been doing this for 3 months. Like, I've never tracked consistently for 3 months before in my entire life. Never. I've never been as dedicated. And it's a lot. It's exhausting, but I'm not giving up on myself. And she knows that. I've told her that. But I just need a little encouragement right now.
Well, and I think one of the best things, like when you're talking about seeing everybody's transformations and how easy it looks, is the most important part of that is the people now, like even the gym rats that I know that just love the gym, can even have started coming on and even talking about how like there's days they just don't want to do it. Like they've been sitting in the parking lot in their car for 45 minutes when their workout could be almost over by now if they just would have gone inside. And it's seeing that and seeing like we can see transformations all day long. What we don't see or hear is the internal monologue of the people when they're putting the pictures together or when they're posting it or when they're writing the captions, or the fact that they had to throw up a Transformation Tuesday because they felt horrible that day about themselves, about their journey, about whatever it may be. And that's where, having such a good connection with the people in the community helps us to see those types of things, is because, everybody is susceptible to see somebody else's journey and compare your chapter 2 to their chapter 20. It works. It's just, we're human. That's going to happen. Like you can't tell somebody not to do that because it's unrealistic. So the best part about that is just knowing that people are posting those things, not because they want to say, oh, look at me, look how great I'm doing. It's probably because they felt awful that day and were like, I got to do this, or I'm going to feel, it's going to really take me down. They need that proof as much as everybody else does. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing to me that you mentioned you've never consistently tracked for as long as you've done just now. And that's amazing in itself. 3 whole months of doing that, like that deserves celebration on its own. The fact that you need to take a breath isn't a bad thing, but the fact that you've made it this far is amazing.
Thank you. I do not give myself enough credit. Sometimes I'm really hard on myself.
I don't think any of us do, dude. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, I think everyone falls into that boat, but it is pretty amazing. Like considering where I've come from. Like before surgery, I was a mess. I mean, I was drinking like 6 Cokes a day, and that's not an exaggeration. And to think like, what are those 140 calories a can times 6? Like, I can't even do that math, but what is that? Like 700, 800 calories.
Well, you were doing the cans. I was doing the liters of the 20-ounce bottles. So I was doing 6 of those a can of Mountain Dew. So the sugar content of that, I don't even want to know how much sugar I was taking in a day. And that's what somebody asked me. Somebody was like, well, have you had one post-op? And I'm like, no, I will not. Because my whole thing is Mountain Dew doesn't really have carbonation in it. It's not really carbonated like Coke or Dr. Pepper or anything else. So I could kill a Mountain Dew and it wouldn't bother me. But I'm not going anywhere near it because that was like heroin to me for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I quit a year before I even had surgery because I knew I didn't want to go through caffeine withdrawal on top of everything else.
That's
so
amazing.
It's been 3.5 years since I've had one, and I'm not anywhere near.
Wow. Mountain Dew sober. We love it.
Yes, exactly. I should get a chip.
You should. That's amazing.
Oh my God. So Laura Grabo is just in the back of my brain right now. We did an episode with her this summer about why change is hard. And I think the question that I want to ask all of us, yeah, there's a couple questions I want to ask all of us, but Katie, I want to know, do you find tracking valuable? What do you get out of tracking?
That's a really good question. Yes. And I'll tell you, the days that I don't track, I'm constantly at the end of the day wondering where I'm at on my numbers, because the days that I do track, I am not hungry at the end of the night. I am completely satisfied and I feel good going to bed. But the days that I don't track, I'm laying in bed at night hungry. And that makes me, it's like my cue, like, okay, where am I? I know I didn't hit my protein today. What can I have that has protein? Like, even when I'm, and Jason, you asked me earlier, am I still eating on track? Yes, I am. Like, I'm not giving myself enough credit. Here I'm sitting eating Nilla wafers with my coffee. I'm having coffee at 7:00 at night. That's not on plan. Sarah would kill me if she knew that, but I was tired today. I took like a 3-hour nap and I have no energy today. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So when I'm laying in bed at night, I think, okay, what can I have that has protein? I'm probably low on my carbs. What can I have that has carbs? And we have like a database, which is so nice. Like, highly recommend this for anybody, but to have just resource pages that have proteins, fats, carbs, and then which ones are protein and fats, which ones are carbs and fats, which ones are fats and proteins. And so you can kind of pull from if you're low in your numbers. So even when I'm not tracking, I'm always thinking about like, okay, I'm still hungry. What did I have today? Where am I at? And like, so yes, what was your question, April?
I want to know.
Is tracking, do I find value in it? Yes.
Yeah.
I find value in it. I feel like now that I know to look at it as data versus restriction, that's what really has changed the game for me, honestly.
And the reason that I ask that is I want all three of us to think about something that we do every day. What's something that we do every single day, or almost like, like let's go like 90% of the time. And do we find value in that? Like for me, I brush my teeth every single night and I wash my face every single night. Mm-hmm. I didn't always do that, but I get a lot of value out of it. Right? Jason, what's one thing you do?
Mine's between my meds and my water. Like I nail the water goal daily. Like I don't ever skip that, or I don't skip my meds either, because I'd probably kind of die without them. So,
right. Good point. Katie, what about you? What's one thing you do almost every single day?
Gosh, I mean, for sure meds. Like I definitely get in times where I get lazy and like I forget to take them or whatever. But I've been trying. That's something I've been very consistent about here recently, is taking my medication every single day, because I can tell when I don't take it. And just the inconsistency in that, I just feel like it's so normal for people to forget to take their medication. But the reality is, like, when you take it consistently, like you're supposed to, like you're getting the full benefits of it. And that's when you really feel top notch.
Right. So now let's take this one step further. Like, what's the value that we're getting out of these things that we do every single day? Right. For me, I have great oral health. I don't ever have to worry about my teeth falling out of my head, which is the only nightmare I ever have in my life. My skin looks consistently great. Like, I get a lot of value out of doing those things. Jason, what about you? What's the value you get?
The value for me is if I don't get all my water in, then I still have like swelling in my hands and feet, and I don't feel as good, and I'm not as, I just don't run as right without it. And same thing with the meds.
Okay. Katie, What about you?
My mental health. 100% my mental health.
Right. You value that.
For sure.
So how did we get to the place that we do these things every single day? You know what I did and what I continue to do is that I do it no matter what. I could be like, the room could be spinning because I'm so intoxicated. I'm going to wash my face and I'm going to brush my teeth. I will do it no matter what, And I did it on the nights that I was just exhausted. It's like, oh my God, I just want to lay down. But as soon as I laid in bed, all my brain said was like, no, but your teeth are going to fall out your head, and then your skin's going to be horrible. What are you doing? Like, come on, come on, come on. I just got up and I did it. That was how I did it consistently.
See, I want to get to that where it comes to like working out. So bad. I want that. And that's something that like I struggle with a lot. And I know that it's only going to come from me practicing it and actually doing it and getting up and doing it. I know I have to like do it to make it a habit, but that's where I struggle because I want that so bad. I want my brain to be like, let's go.
And it will. The more you move, the more it'll happen. And the more like the thing about working out that is so crazy is you'll drag yourself in the gym not wanting to do it. But the minute you start doing it and you know like your body reacts to it, you're just going to you'll become a junkie to it eventually, because you'll just be like, if I don't move, I feel like shit. If I do move, I feel awesome. Like I just want to lift the world. So that's cool. Like it's just the stark night and day difference between the two is what's going to keep dragging you back.
Well, and really, like I mean, you guys know, like we've done a lot of learning, we've done a lot of reading, we've done a lot of growth, and it's just all of these things are kind of like coming from all of these different places. But right, if we really want something to change in our lives, we need to tie it to our values, right? We need to find value from it, and we need to just do it even on the days that we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. And if those things are kind of missing, then it is going to make it a little bit difficult. But all three of us have examples of starting something new and sticking with it until it got to the point where we just don't do our lives without it. Right.
Yeah.
So, my thinking is like, okay, well, how can you get there, Katie, when it comes to tracking, if that's something that you really find a lot of value in? Because when you said like what you get out of it, you're not hungry, you're satisfied, your brain isn't worrying or wondering, right? Late at night, you feel settled. There's all these really good things. And on the days that you don't do it now, you've almost kind of made that transition, because now, well, I am worried about it. Now I'm thinking about it, right? So your brain started to figure out like, oh, it's actually less work if I just do it than if I don't do it. Because if I don't do it, I'm going to be freaked out and worried about it.
Yeah. And one thing that Sarah mentioned to the team not too long ago was we were talking about macros and tracking and all that. We were having a class or something. And she said, everybody wants to be able to intuitively eat. But the thing about intuitively eating is you have to take the time to practice tracking and knowing what portion sizes look like in order to be able to do that. And that's so true. And she always says, like, give me a year. She was like, you shouldn't need me after a year. She was like, if you're still in my program after a year, I'm not doing something right. So like, I love that she really sets you up for success on your own. And yeah, she constantly reminds me that like, it's going to take time. Like it took years and years of, bad habits to get to where I am. And, I feel like I'm doing pretty good so far, but I just need to give myself more grace in the low times and know that like a bad choice doesn't mean that you're doing a bad job.
And it doesn't make you a bad person. And it's funny though, because you mentioned basically what I'm hearing you say when you're talking is on the days you don't track, you still track because you still know what you're doing and you still know where you're falling short. So technically your little break wasn't a break at all. You were just kind of being stubborn about the technical rules of it all, but you were still tracking because you knew what you took in, you knew what you didn't take in, you knew where you were deficient. So
yeah, that's true. Thanks for helping me see my wins, because sometimes I feel like I don't have a win when I'm not, on top of my game. Because Sarah always asks, what's one win from this week? And I love that she asks that because it makes you really like take into consideration your hard work.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And it can be hard because again, we are wired to not look for those things. We're wired to kind of get down on ourselves. We're wired to stay the same. And yeah, that everyone underestimates just how much work it actually takes to change. It is a complete, and that's why we all go into bariatric surgery just so like euphoric and, oh, this is going to be great. And oh, I can't wait. And I'm just not going to be hungry. Right. And then you have it.
Well, and the bad part is like Katie's like, it's hard for her to find a win on those some days, but I guarantee you could probably stack up 10 losses. You rack out the things you think you did wrong.
Oh,
but
100%.
But you'll dig your way to China trying to find one win.
Yeah.
Why
But you got
are we
you got
like
you got
this?
the L's on deck, boy. You can be like, all the shit I did wrong, just pass them out like dollar bills in a strip club, just
Can't
fanning them
lie.
out, making it rain.
It's
Oh
true
my God.
though. We're our own worst critic, our own worst enemies. And I find myself constantly battling my brain all the time. It's a constant battle. Here recently, I really think I have ADHD, and I think it was misdiagnosed as depression. And that's like a whole nother podcast episode. But like, do you hear how much I'm rambling just in this conversation? I have so many thoughts. I get overwhelmed with my mind sometimes. And I feel like this podcast, I feel like I've been like rambling like crazy, but I really think I'm gonna talk to the doctor about it because it's hard. Like it's I think something that I've noticed throughout this whole process, just surgery and from surgery on, is like, I'm just learning so much about my body and so much about my mind and who I am as a person. And it's been very, very eye-opening. Everything has been so eye-opening.
I can definitely tell you my son was clinically diagnosed with ADHD and was on meds all through school. Once he graduated and got, hit 18, he started deciding, I don't need meds anymore. I'm fine. And now that he's not on meds, he also is depressed. And you would think it's clinically depressed. And it legitimately is the fact that he cannot not follow the dopamine. So my wife tells him all the time, like, stop following the dopamine, take a deep breath, reset, recenter, because he wants to try to just be like, I don't need meds. I'm just going to live my life and be normal. And I'm like, it's not about being normal. It's about slowing the thoughts down, because he legit does the same thing. Like he gets frustrated and upset with himself that he can't do it on his own. And so that does push him towards the depression cycle and those things. And he'll go, he goes through times where he doesn't bathe and he doesn't take care of himself. And he just has it like his room looks like shit. Like he struggles. He really does. And he tries to buy things that make it better. He tries to go places or be with people that he thinks are going to make it better. And none of that shit works. Yeah, none of it works. So when you're talking about it, it mimics him to a T. It's just, it hasn't stacked up quite that bad yet. But yeah, no, honestly, you should talk to your doctor about it, because he took meds for years, all types of meds. And he just finally decided, he was just like, I don't want to do that anymore. So I want to be done now. And now I'm struggling with him, trying to get him to talk, find somebody to talk to where they can get him back on him. Because I'm like, you got to have him, dude. Like your life is spiraling without him.
That's wild. April has a thought.
You just said, like, I just want to be done with the meds. We have all reached the point where we just want to be done with our bariatric journey.
Yep.
I've been there. Y'all know I've been there. I've talked to you about it, April.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah.
But once you cross that bridge, there's no going back. We can't ever not be a bariatric patient. And I think that's part of the struggle too. And I have experienced the same thing too, Katie. It's like, I just get so angry and frustrated, and I just don't want to do this anymore, and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm just going to go do all of the other things. I'm going to distract myself with something else, or an organizing task, whatever it is. But that's never the thing. And I really think that, a big piece of this journey is like, you think it's going to be one way, and then you come to realize, oh my God, it's not. And then I don't want to do this anymore. And you go back to living how you used to live. And you're like, I don't want to do that either. That's actually worse. Literally. And then you just go in like this death spiral of like, what the hell have I done to myself and my life? And I've blown everything up, and I don't know who I am anymore. It's kind of like this valley of despair almost that we find ourselves in.
Yeah.
But for many of us, there's that little tiny campfire burning at the bottom of the valley. And that fire is what tells us that, okay, you want to keep going, right? It's that little ember of like, something else is out there. And I think once you kind of start going down that road of self-discovery, it does become very overwhelming, because that singular path all of a sudden becomes like a 12-lane Chinese superhighway.
Yes.
Right.
And it's just so many areas of your life that you're like, okay, I need to fix this. I need to do this. I need to do this. Yes.
Right. You're just like hot mess. Like, it's almost one of those things like, you don't know what you don't know until all of a sudden you're like, oh my God.
That's how I feel. Like I'm looking at my life, like literally like a seven lane highway. And I'm like, okay, what do I focus on first? Like that's that's literally how I feel like I am a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And I think it's because my eyes have been opened to a lot of things that I've been struggling with over the years. And, losing all the weight and being left with what you're left with, it kind of punches you in the face. So,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Marks.
it definitely will. Well, and I thought about it the other day in terms of the journey and how we struggle sometimes, and some days we just fucking nail it, and some days we're just like, piss on it, like. And it's kind of like climbing a hill. Climbing a hill is going to be super easy one day, but if it rains the next day, it's going to be super fucking hard to climb the hill because you're going to get up a few steps, you're going to slide back down. So then you got to wait for the shit to dry out again, and then the next day it may not be, it may not be fully dry, so it's not as easy to get up the hill that day, but you still make it farther than you made it the day before. And then when it dries, you go right back up it again. So I mean, it's just a difference in the terrain of the day as to how we go about processing the day. Like some days we're going to nail it, and other days we're going to be like, I could have done better.
Well, and if we stick with the superhighway, right, metaphor, I mean, imagine how annoying your life is going to be if you start in this lane and then this lane starts moving faster, and then you're doing this, and then you're doing like, if you're constantly switching lanes to like get to where you want to go quicker, you're just going to run out of gas sooner, and you're going to piss yourself and everybody else off, right? Like, this is not an effective way to move. You pick a lane and you stay in it, because they're all moving at the same direction. There is not a lane that is actually moving quicker than the other. And it is one of those things. It's like, you come out and you just realize, oh my God, I have so much to deal with, but we didn't have the capacity to deal with it before.
Literally. Yeah.
We didn't have the energy. We didn't have the mental energy, the physical energy. All we could do was just keep ourselves alive and keep that little campfire that was burning deep down of us in like lit, right? That was it.
For sure.
And now that the weight is gone and we have more capacity, we can see more. And I think sometimes that feeling of despair is similar to kind of the feeling of despair that we had before surgery. And we were hoping that surgery would eliminate that sense of despair, but it's not going to. As I always say, right, surgery took away my last excuse to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's deep.
Right, because there's no other reason for me to not do this work, because there's absolutely not a single thing holding me back except myself. Yeah. And I think just the fact that you've like recognized that really signals to me that you're in a different stage of your journey and of life.
I feel like I really am. Like, there's a lot of times where I feel like I am kind of in a different place in my life than a lot of people that I know. And I really like cherish my friendships with people who are kind of in similar paths that I am, because I have somebody to talk to about it. I have somebody to talk to about just like, I don't know. I think you kind of learn who your real friends are when they're able to celebrate wins with you. And that's something that I've learned going from my 20s to my 30s is, devoting my time to who values me in their lives and vice versa, and so, yeah, I think I'm just learning what true like self-love is. And I don't know, I feel it pouring out into a lot of areas. Like, I feel like my friendships and my marriage are thriving right now. And it's amazing. Like, honestly, I feel like my marriage to my husband, like, it has not been perfect this whole time. And we've had some really like tough conversations just because I see why divorce is so prevalent in the bariatric community. I see it. I understand why that's so difficult. And especially when, we've been talking about, I'm on this like self-development journey, but I'm a completely different person than who my husband married 5 years ago. And we had to have a sit down conversation about that. And I had to tell him, like, I do not love you any less. In fact, I love you more than I did that day we got married, but I'm a completely different girl than the girl that you married. And I want things for my future that we didn't discuss before we got married. Like, I've changed a lot. I know, like, you've changed a lot. And we just had some really like deep conversations, and they're not easy conversations, but again, we met each other where we are in that space, and he has supported me. He has seen me at my lowest, my absolute lowest, and he has loved me no less. And, I want to be there for him too, as he grows, as he finds his potential and all of that. So we've just really had to come together and just choose to love each other through no matter what journey it is that we're on. And so we're in a really, really good place right now, which I'm really excited about. I'm excited about our future. And I think just learning how to love myself and allowing people to truly love me has like helped me open up a lot, which is probably another podcast
No,
conversation
but
we could have.
that's true. That's true though. But the fact that you guys sat down and actually had the conversation and
It's hard.
you approach the fact that you have changed, there are changes, there's things that have gone on that you are not the same girl that he married. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. They just expect their partner to change as they change. And if they don't, then they're like, oh, fuck it, let's just do something. I'm just do something else. Like, there's people in my inbox. There's people say I'm looking good. Like, I'm just going to go do what I'm going to just fuck it. I'm just going to throw it all out and just, and piss
It's easier
on
to start over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you don't love me like you want me to be like I was. But the problem with that is you're expecting, just like you expect the change post-op to be overnight, you expect the person you've been with for 20 whatever years that has been going a certain way to change overnight and go, well, now that I've lost all this weight, you're supposed to love me this way instead of the other way, and you're not supposed to touch me this way because of this way. And instead of actually sitting down and having the conversation like you did and working through the process and thinking about it and, taking steps that are necessary for both of you guys to see the changes, like that's where I think a lot of people are falling short. And I know that it's not going to be blanket for every single person in the weight loss community. Like it's not a science, but at the same time, it's like along the way, a lot of people have settled for whatever situation that they were in at whatever time, and it worked for them. So you can't just expect overnight, because we've lost 100 pounds, for our partner to see us in a completely different light, because it's only been this certain dynamic for however many years it's been. So allowing the time to change and having those hard conversations, I think, are going to be beneficial to a lot of people. And those people that are pre-op, that are worried about it, going into it knowing ahead of time that you're going to need to have these conversations and they need to go a certain kind of way, I think is really going to help.
Well, and really, you've given people a perfect conversation starter with just describing, the conversation that you had with him. And that is a really scary one, because if his response would have been, well, I don't know if I like this new person.
Yeah, it's scary.
Holy shit. Like,
it was really scary.
Oh yeah. Like, so what do you do then? Like, okay. So do I go back
I think you have to know your partner. You have to know them well enough to know how to approach the conversation. And like, that's where I tried to come from, because like, I know my husband loves me so much that I don't doubt that for a second. But I have goals in my life, things that I want to achieve. And I want to know that we're headed in the right direction, the same direction, not the right direction, because his direction might be different, but I just want to know that we both want the same things in our future, and so like that's what I really wanted to have a conversation about, because when you completely change your diet, that's a decision you have to make. I can't force him to eat what I eat, and we eat different meals all the time, and it's hard to have dinners together when we eat totally different things. And like, there will be nights where I want to make a sheet pan recipe and he's like, I really don't want that. Like, I want a burger. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, go get you a burger and we'll sit down and have dinner together, like whatever. But you just have to figure out how to compromise and how to have those conversations based on how each other communicates. You have to know your partner. And I think that's something that we've done well, is getting to know each other, because we've been together for 5 years and we still don't have kids. And so I'm just really grateful that we did take the time in our marriage to do that before I have kids. But I will say, we have talked about kids here, maybe in the near future. So that could be coming up soon. I don't know. Not soon, but like maybe the next year or so. We'll see.
That's exciting.
Isn't that crazy? I know. What kind of spurred it is the fact that like I'm actually starting to lean out a lot, and I'm seeing how much loose skin I have. I want a tummy tuck so bad, but I want to have kids first.
Don't waste the tummy tuck.
That's right. That's right. It's like, all right, let's start popping babies. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Oh my God. I mean, even though you are struggling at the moment, you have so much good. You really do.
I do. Yeah.
You
I
have a
really
lot of
do.
good. Don't let that wide view of all of the things that you're seeing that you could or should work on, really take away from all of the good that you're doing. It's heavy lifting every single day is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Well,
you for that.
and
I need to
it's
hear
kind of the difference in saying, like don't miss the forest for the trees, but at the same time, there are times we have to put the blinders on and just focus on the shit that we're nailing. Because for you to have been in such a funk and having such a hard time and struggling, when you talk about your process and your journey, your face lights up like I have never seen it light up. Like you've got a glow about you in the way that you're talking about the process and your coach and the way you feel about yourself and some of the hard, the results of some of the hard conversations that you've had. Like your face is not matching up with with how you started this whole thing. So that's what I love to see.
You're gonna make me cry because like I've spent my entire life like just trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be. And I was thinking over the weekend, so I got some new tattoos over the weekend. And I like filled up my half sleeve.
Oh,
And I haven't told
awesome.
anybody on Instagram yet. This is very new, but so you're the
Oh,
first
that's
to see it.
beautiful. Look
But
at
I
that.
love it. And like, I feel like such a badass. And I was just thinking about how I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm becoming, I can see myself as who I've wanted to be forever. And I didn't have the courage to be that person. And so this is my treat to myself. I saved up for it. I actually saved money. Like, who am I saving money? What? She's a new girl. Who is she? But I did. I saved up for this for months and I got it all done this weekend and I love it. And I'm just really excited about my life for the first time ever. Like she's 30, she's thriving. Like it's about time.
It's like all the songs, all the books are just like mashing into one.
Yeah.
But
She's
honestly,
30.
though, that's what your 20s are for, is to figure shit out. And people get so hard on themselves. Like my son the other day, he's just turned 20. And he's over here freaking out about, I needed help with this. And I'm like, dude, you're a baby. Like, get off. Like you've got forever to get this shit figured out. Like you're not going to do it like the only way you figure this stuff out is by learning, having the bumps and the bruises and figuring it out. Like don't be so damn hard on yourself. Like, yeah, that's what your 20s are for, figuring shit out. Once you hit your 30s and you hit your stride, like, you got a whole life. Your 30s are better than your 20s because you got knowledge, credit, and money and shit that you can do now that you couldn't do in your 20s. So it's awesome. Like I love my 30s, so don't worry about it.
Well, and there's going to be things that we're figuring out at every stage. I'm in my 40s and I'm still figuring shit out. So, I think, right, like you get to this point and I think you do get this, you reach this place and you're like, what, things are good. Things are really, really good. I've hit some goals. I'm hitting my stride. And then life changes, right? Age happens and your priorities shift and different things require you to figure some new things out as you go. That's just life. I mean, like literally, I was on the beach the other day, I picked up a piece of sea glass. It was just like, something clicked in my brain and I was like, oh my God, but even that piece of glass went from being mica to being superheated. It was a bottle, a glass, a vase, who knows what it was. Maybe it's been 8 different glass things. And then it wound up on my beach in a shard and it's been softened by time and tide. Like nothing stays permanent, nothing. I mean, that like rocks change, like everything goes through a metamorphosis. And we think that our lives are just, I think supposed to be stagnant and it's just not the case. And
how boring would that be too, if your life was stagnant?
Right.
I would think it would be a little bit boring. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to, some stability, but
for sure.
Yeah.
We love a stable girl, but
yeah, it doesn't always have to be a nosedive, but at the same time, like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so funny. So I pulled up, Natalie gave a presentation recently at her job about change. And she came across this researcher, this person, Rosabeth Moss Cantor. Actually, I pulled it up on my computer screen because this quote is just so powerful. But in her live, she talked about how, right, the middle is messy. And I think we are all in a lot of ways in the middle of something, right now. And this quote says, in the middle, everything looks like a failure.
Whoa, that hits hard.
Yeah.
In the middle, everything looks like a failure. And what we were talking about on our Instagram live, which again, if I can figure out how to do this, I'm gonna do it. Or maybe I'm sure somebody can't. Actually, I know who can do this. Anyways, I digress. But you know the Instagram, the side-by-side pictures, right? There's this and there's this. There's that line. There's a middle line that divides the before and after. That middle, if you actually expand, if you really got in, right, and you blew it up, it is a lifetime of fuck ups and mistakes and mishandlings and joyful moments, right? That middle is actually, and when you think about all of the life and all of the decisions that went in between that before and after photo.
That's wild. To think about.
Right? You couldn't make it wide enough to fit it in any type of screen.
Yeah.
And that is the messy part. And it's the biggest part, even though on those before and afters, it doesn't even look like it exists. Oh, it's there. And that can be the danger of hinging, our life on that before and after. It's missing the most important part, which is the middle, which is why this conversation is so critically important, right? Because people have to know it is not upbeat and positive every day, that we are going to go through these very messy middle parts. And that the middle is where the work is. The middle is where the change happens. And if we just focus on the before and after, we're missing the whole point.
Yeah, you're so right. And I clearly still need those reminders.
As we all do.
We all do.
As we all do. No, but again, these conversations hopefully remind people and can serve as a reminder for ourselves, right? When we're feeling down or when we're feeling whatever, we can reflect back on this conversation and go, oh no, I've been here before. I've had this experience before. I've been in this messy middle before, and I've been there with my friends. So
yeah. And what's so crazy is like, I love these podcasts because I always end feeling like so much better. Like, it's like my therapy. Like literally when we first started this conversation, I was kind of feeling down about like where I'm at, but now I'm like, no, like I'm kicking ass. Like I really am. And like, just because I have a couple rough weeks here and there, that doesn't mean that I'm not truly killing it, because I am. I'm really proud of where I'm at. Like I can see my loose skin. Like before I just felt like I knew I had loose skin, but like I still had a lot of fat and I just wasn't as trim as I wanted to be. And I have truly seen my body change in the last 3 months, and it's been really kind of slow changes. So I haven't really noticed it throughout, but like where I am today, like I can feel my collarbones. I can see, like, I don't know. It's just really cool to see your hard work, actually pay off. So yeah.
Girl, you posted as I was just rallying on the before and afters, but you've been posting before and afters on Instagram. And that was when I think I DM'd you, whatever, texted you. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I think I even said like, please tell me that you see this. Please tell me that you can see the difference.
I know what. It's crazy. It's crazy. Right? It takes a little bit for it to kick in, but here recently I've really noticed, and it's exciting.
Well, and what you have gone through to get there is this. It's this middle. It's this conversation. Yeah. It's this, I'm exhausted. Sure. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm struggling, right? But and I think the power of these conversations is that you have different people's outside perspective and you have your internal perspective, and just to have people bounce their ideas and their observations off of you helps your brain acknowledge that, oh, my singular perspective is not the only one.
Sure. And something else that, like, I know we're kind of running out of time, but something else I kind of would like to touch on in a future podcast is just like learning discipline, because I feel like that's what I've been really focused on here lately. And I think I've struggled with that for so long because, I was a food addict. I didn't have discipline in a lot of areas of my life. And now I'm trying to learn that. And that's been a whole, that's, I think, what the biggest struggle is for me, is learning discipline and committing to myself. So that's kind of, this is the start of that journey. But so far so good. I'm going to keep it up. It's not over.
No? Oh, hell no. It's not over until you're not breathing
Till
for
you're
a
dead.
consistent amount of time. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, girl, I gotta send you a book. So I think one of our new favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, the Stoic, he just launched a book called Discipline. It's a book on discipline, and I was like, oh, pre-ordering that. So that's coming.
Adds to cart.
Coming to you. Add to cart, ship immediately. Yes, or discipline is the destiny. Or destiny is discipline, something like that.
I love
Anyways,
that. Yes, I resonate with that for sure.
Well, and it's part of the reason. So I am starting with your coach on September 19th.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh, are you so excited?
I am excited and terrified all at the same time.
Nervous. I was so scared. I was so scared to start, but you will love it. You're going to love it.
Well, and just what you said, it's, I need to approach it as like, no, I feel like I have 3 full-time jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I have my job.
Mm-hmm.
I have Barry Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have this endeavor. And I need to treat it like that. And I know that I'm missing a 4th full-time job, which is my relationships. But right, like, and that's why I know. And that's why I think we can beat ourselves up. We can beat ourselves up saying like, well, why don't I have the energy, or why don't I have the discipline, or why am I just not motivated to do any of this? Because you got like 8 full-time jobs. That's
literally why. Yes.
Right.
Couldn't agree more.
Right. And I think just, discipline and time management and just being effective with our time and making sure spaces are uncluttered. There's things that we can do that can help us tackle each of our full-time jobs every single day in the most efficient way. And that is also going to take time to figure out, because we got to try new things.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so girl.
More on that. There'll be more podcasts in the future. Don't you worry.
Oh, I know.
Next topic, discipline.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, we can record a podcast episode with you every week for the rest of our lives, and we would still be on our deathbed, be like, oh, wait, we got to talk about
addiction. I'm still going off in the grave. You know what I mean?
Dude, if I can figure out a way to do that, my plan is not to be buried in a coffin, but how rad would that be? So in the afterlife, when you have these epiphany moments, like a light bulb goes off on your tombstone. Oh, bing.
Wow, that would be amazing. It's like a movie.
Oh my God.
That's so funny.
Well, Katie, my friend, what would you like to leave our friends and listeners and watchers and followers with?
You ask me this every time. You'd think I would have like a little spiel like made up and ready. We're just going to wing it today. I think just to give yourself grace. Like, I feel like short and simple and sweet, but so powerful. Like when you really think about the meaning of what grace is, and just learning to accept that no one is perfect, despite what you see on social media, and give yourself grace and just pick yourself back up and keep going. Like, it's never too late to keep going. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at mentally. That's what I tell myself every day. It's not too late to keep going. Just keep going. Just pick yourself up, keep going.
I love it, Katie. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being so open and honest and willing to just say this sucks and talk about it.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I get more out of these conversations than I can even say. So I'm blessed to be here.
Well, we feel the same way. Jason, my friend, you want to take us out?
Yes, ma'am. Katie, like April said, thank you. We always appreciate you making yourself available for us and talking and getting deep with us, because we appreciate that. We feel like that's where the best meat of the conversations happen, is when we get deep like that. So we appreciate you being open for that. We also appreciate everybody who's liked, shared, subscribed, followed, and get friends to follow, and told everybody about Barry Nation. Spreading the news is just helping us continue to grow, and we appreciate that. And please do not forget, you can still leave us ratings and reviews on your favorite podcast player, as well as on YouTube. If you have not liked, shared, and subscribed on YouTube yet, please do that. And with the Anchor app, if you listen there, you can also leave us voice messages that we can incorporate into future episodes of the podcast. And it just gives us another way to highlight you guys, because we love doing that. So, and then also just remember, at the end of the day, you've got this, we've got you, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Bye, friends.
Bye.